Okay, I'm shooting a short clip video here to clear up a myth. If you look here, you'll see this little gray morel. Now, everyone believes that there are whites, blacks, and gray morels, but this is not true. There are whites and there are blacks. These grays are nothing but a young, early form of the white. Okay? I know this for a fact because I've taken them on my property. These are growing on my property. So pretty much they're protected and controlled. I take them, just like this one, and I let them grow up until they fill out, change their color, and they eventually end up white morels. So for those of you out there that believe these are gray morels, these are just a younger form of the whites. I'll try to cover some more video about morels and spring mushrooms in this clip if the opportunity arises. Now these grays are sitting here. They're not growing, they're not doing much of nothing because we haven't had the warm, humid the warm, humid weather that it takes for the morel to grow. It's been cool, it's been damp, we've had a lot of cool weather. Mainly in the 50s and 60s. We had a few days that would hit up in the 70s one day and then back down in the 50s. So I'll keep shooting video, keep you posted. We'll watch the progress of this mushroom. Okay, here we are 5 days later with mushrooms we showed. They're called grays. Okay, but as you can see, they grew up. You can say, here, it's a nice big one. You can say, well, they're still gray. No, they got a lot of rain, so it changed the color, made them moist and mushy, kind of mushy and damp. Okay? You say, well, there's a white morel. No, these were all growing together in the same area. You could say that about this. It's a white. It's not a white. These are all the same morel mushrooms picked from the same exact area. So, in my opinion, it relieves the myth that there are grays, there are blacks, there are whites. Now, I'll try to show a clip with the blacks. And I correct what I said earlier in the video. There's 2 types. There's actually 3 types. Okay? There's this morel, which I will explain later in the video. Here's another example of a little one. Very little. It's different than the other morels. It comes up, has a big stem and a little top. These have like a Christmas tree. A stem, balloon out. Here's probably a better example. The shape. They balloon out like a Christmas tree. Here's another good example. These are different. Right here. And I will explain that. Okay, here you can see a morel. It's quite camouflaged. It's hidden in with pine cones. It looks a heck of a lot like a pine cone. We'll get a little closer look at it here. There you go. Now you can see it a little better compared to them pine cones. The old rule is where you find one, generally you find more. Now we have found some singles this year, but generally where there's one, there's more. There's Another nice one coming up right there. Right there at the base of that walnut tree. Okay, here's another one here. People call these grays, but as you can see, there's variance in color in anything. I did a video earlier. It showed different shapes, different colors, you know, but like I say, here, some of these are grays, but if you let them go, you let them grow, they grow up to be what they call white morels. There's another one right over here. It's a little camouflage in the grass. You can, if I come in a little closer, you can probably see that one. There it is, right there. Like I said, the rule is where you find one, you find more. Okay, here's an example of a little one. Like I said, mushrooms take on different shapes and colors. Now, this is not your classic Christmas tree morel. You can see it's a little rounder. It's quite deformed, but it's still a morel. Okay, here's an example of 3 of them clustered together. A lot of times where there's a lot of morels, you'll find them in clusters like this, where the area's just right. It's rich for them. There's plenty of mycelium in there. This is how they'll come up, just in clusters. 2, 3, 5 sometimes, just depends. Okay, we've got a bunch of our morels collected. Now, gray, white. If you notice this one here, it's white. As well as this one here, white. Notice how the crevices are opened up on those. But on these so-called grays, you see how tight them crevices are and how little those mushrooms are? Because they're not quite mature. They're not opened up the same. All their crevices are really tight. Even this big boy here, which is pretty good size, crevices are closed. Crevices, not closed, but they're closed more or less. They're so. They're not as big as the ones that are open up, which are more whitish. Case in point. Okay, here's my wife Alma with her little grays all grown up. And if you look at them, they're at least as big as her hand, a little more. If you look closely, you'll see the size of the holes, those crevices. Those crevices are quite large. That's why those morels are so big, because they're fully matured this time. There you go. There's an adult white morel. It's not a gray. It's a white, but it's adult. You can see a pretty good size compared to that cap. I mean, compared to that cap, they're pretty big.